Hello, ngHouston. Okay, so tonight we have a very cool guest all the way from Poland, and I'm pretty excited about it. Oh, let me mute myself over here. I always do that. Sorry, you'd think I would know by now. Okay, so real quick, we're going to jump right into it because I'm excited for him to get started. But I want to introduce the panelists real quick first. I said real quick like 3 times. Paul Spears, you want to say hello, Paul?
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Spears. I work at Oasis Digital teaching Angular Bootcamp.
There you go. Thanks for joining us. So that's the problem. So we started a few minutes late, and that's why when we start late, I talk really fast. Sorry. Gotta get it all caught up. Okay, and we have a few more panelists that might join us, but might be, we have the cat. This is Mocha, one of our panelists tonight. And we have a few more that might jump in late, but we're not going to wait for them. We're going to go ahead and get started because we have a guest here, and it's 1:30 in the morning where he's at. So we're just going to jump right in. Vitalii, you want to say hello?
So hi, I'm Vitalii. I'm Ukrainian that lives in Poland.
I really appreciate you coming on, especially because I know it's the middle of the night there, and so you're probably pretty tired. It's because it's we're all the way across the world.
If something just wake me up.
Well, if your code goes crazy, we'll just be like, you need coffee.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
If I will repeat some letters. So
do you want to do you have slides? Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I think I will start with slides and switch to the code. Oh, so yeah.
Oh, you have stormtroopers. Yeah, this is gonna be cool.
I like
Star
Wars. Yeah. So yeah, we will speak about schematics and what problems they solve for us and why we need them. So it's me, Vitalii. I'm working on front-end. I do NgRx for the last 2 years with Angular. I am trying to contribute to ngGirls as a mentor, trying to contribute to NgRx and some my own open source projects. And I'm working for a company called TPAM. It's an outsourcing company. And here's the links to social networks, my blog, and so on. And
hold on. You got go back. You have to tell us about this Rockstar thing. What's up with the Rockstar thing?
My teenage time, I played some rock bands and the university and so on.
Do you have this on YouTube? Can we go look at this on YouTube? I mean, not right now, but I want to see.
No. YouTube wasn't the thing this time.
You have to send us a picture, Vitalii.
As it will be picture here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I want to see a picture.
And also, not so far time ago, I became co-organizer of Angular Wrocław meetup. So we had sending up our meetup after 1 year delay. So it will be just third time in June when we are gathering. So yeah, here is the photo you asked. So it was taken something like this years ago.
That's you in the front?
Yeah, I think it's me 15 years old or something.
That's pretty awesome. Were you good?
Oh?
Were you good? Good music?
Mostly grunge or punk rock, something like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, music, it was always about creativity, but before you get out on the stage, you need to set up all this stuff, wires, instruments, and it's pretty boring. And the same thing with coding. So schematics actually trying to solve this problem. And with ngRx, we are repeating the states, reducers, actions, selectors, all this boilerplate over and over again. There are some solutions that trying to solve this problem in different ways. For example, different abstractions on top of this boilerplate, but any abstraction has its cost. It's not come for free, especially for big teams. So it increases the time people get involved into a project and so on. So you should always consider in is this abstraction will work for you well or not. And yeah, we have two types of task. In general, creative one and boring. Boring is about set up all these build systems, linters, boilerplates, and creative actually to solve some coding challenge, some algorithms, some business logic, and so on. And when we're speaking about computers and humans better, at least for now, in creative tasks. For now, because we have this machine learning and neural networks, so they might defeat us in the future, but for now we are good with it. And actually, computers better in boring, repetitive stuff. So Angular CLI was this tool that help us to scaffold Angular project. Before it comes, we have this crazy system just set up manually, Webpack, and all these things. And also it comes with this.
I don't know how we lived before Angular CLI. We're so spoiled now.
Yeah, because you come to Angular.io and see this system.js setup, and oh hell! And when you add some third-party lib, you need to manually edit it and so on. But behind the system.js was the cool idea just to make the same thing like native modules in JavaScript. So it's kind of polyfill. Yeah. So later on, the generators and tooling for it was extracted to separate project called Schematics, and we have this tool to generate schematics. We can install schematics CLI and generate new schemas. And the most important thing that this schematics, it's not really Angular specific. So in general, what it does, it takes the file system tree, run it through schematic, and gives you an updated file system. So it could create files, edit content inside them, remove files, and so on, refactor them. Especially in CLI 6, we have this upgrade schematic. So a library can implement on upgrade schematic, and it will run kind of migrations like on backend stuff. We have this database migration, the same migrations for our code base to support newer versions of libraries and so on. And ngAdd is cool that it allows you to scaffold some libraries. So you just type in ngAdd me this crazy library, and it imports it. So it might set up the npm modules for you and so on. And when we're speaking about these files actually our code base state. So schematics in this case will be kind of reducer, and we pass in our file systems through this reducer, and we got the new state of file system. So yeah, and ngRx Schematics have for now actions, container effects, reducers, store, and feature generators. Feature stands for kind of alias of generator that generate with one command action, effect, reducer, and store for some feature. And how to use schematics, and the best way to use them to get them try. So usually people showing some stuff on to-do list application or Redux with counters, but it's useless. So we will try to build some Star Wars knowledge base. It will look something like this. So there is open source Swappy API that gives some just like database with some data for Star Wars movies about heroes. So it's free, open source. We can use it, and I use this Star Wars API to get some data about heroes, prepare some cards with material design so we can show them. And it's more or less something like we're doing at work. So we fetch in some data, transform it, and show to the user. And in this case, it's better than usual to-do list up or just counting. So I have some cheat sheet. I also uploaded all code on GitHub. Links will be in these slides. So, and it contains not only the code, but listing of all commands that I used to generate this project.
It's Vitalii, Bobrov, NgRx, SW, so Star Wars knowledge base, SWKB.
Yeah. It stands for it.
I like it. It has personality. It's better than a to-do list because it's just funny.
Yeah,
especially if you're a Star Wars
usually they're using something in memory, data storage, so it's not so useful to show something. So let's start. I have the latest CLI 608. So, and we're going to generate this project. NgNew, Star Wars knowledge base, prefix, and SAS for styles. Setup shouldn't take a lot because everything should be cached already. I think I get setup yarn as default.
What happened?
It installs the dependencies. I'm doing pretty live. So
I was going to look up your repo.
Yeah, but packages should be cached.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're live coding. It always has to go wrong at least a little bit.
Yeah, and I decided
that's like the law of the universe.
Empty project. So yeah, let's try it here. Okay. Yeah. So we have this empty standard project without nothing special inside. So the only I set up SAS for styles, and that's it. So let's go. Let's switch to this folder and generate some stuff like model for our feature, heroes list.
And all of these commands that you're typing in, because we do have a lot of beginners that watch the show, so all these commands that you're typing in are right there on your GitHub README. So it's super, super easy.
Yeah.
I like it.
I
was actually really, when schematic, you know, every time something new, it's like there's one more new thing I have to learn, and I used to get like really discouraged, especially when I was a beginner, because I'm like, oh man, I just learned HTML and then CSS, and now I got to learn JavaScript, and what on earth is ASP? And it was like I was getting so overwhelmed. And I don't do that so much anymore because it's like you're learning a little bit at a time the new stuff. But when schematics came out, at first I was thinking that's one more thing I have to learn. But schematics is not necessarily like another. It's just a configuration file, right? I mean, it's more to it than that, but it's not like some intimidating thing that you have to go out and learn.
Yeah, it's more like templating engine or something.
Yeah, it saves you a lot of time, but it's not like a big thing that you have to learn. It's just setting your projects up and using these tools that people like you have created for us, so it just makes it super easy.
Yeah.
So if you don't know anything about schematics, it's okay. By the time we're done, you'll know all of it.
Yeah, so here we're using NgRx Schematics in separate package. So yeah, we generated heroes list. It's kind of container for our hero cards. Next, we will generate component for hero. Oh. So yeah, some interface for have a model for hero and response. Service for Star Wars API to wrap it. Okay, so we generated basic stuff that we need. It's not working yet, but at least we have these folders, these files, kind of components. And the main thing when you apply some schematics to commit something before you do perform new schematics next. It will save a lot of time if something going wrong and you need to revert. So just
I love this the NgRx schematics because I love NgRx, but there's a bit of boilerplate that you have to set up, and you have to kind of create all these files, and this just like you could do that.
Yeah, and here
at least I think that that's what it looks like you're going to do, which is exciting for me. Is less stuff that we have to type.
Okay, so here we're using Angular material, and to add Angular material into a project, we will use ngAdd schematic provided by them. So now we don't need to make manual imports, set up, import npm packages, and so on. We just can type ngAdd at Angular material. And cool thing, it's just simple. So ngAdd is command provided by CLI, and it's looking for package that we're passing here, in our case Angular material, and then it looks on this collection JSON file. Collection JSON is the full listing of schematics that you have in your module. It could be placed in any folder you want, because there is some special field in package JSON. So they have this schematics, and ngAdd command looking for ngAdd schematic. And here in Angular materials, they implemented one, so it's control templates and installs. It's running this one. So yeah. And they add in imports for dependencies in your package JSON, add the import into indexed HTML of style sheets and so on. So we can run it and look what's happened.
So Vitalii, for the ones who are not too familiar with schematics, this is one version of, there's like many other schematics besides NgRx, and you're showing us NgRx schematics, but there's also like NX, and there are several other schematics.
Yeah.
And this is just one, but you can do that ngAdd with lots of packages.
If they implement it. The main thing that they should have this ngAdd in their collection.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we run it, and it was just one command to add whole material setup for us. So they add Angular material package, Angular CDK, component development kit, and what did here? It added import for style sheet here in the index also. This is material icons. This is pretty useless. And imported animations module into app module. And we don't need to do all this stuff manually, just one command. So yeah, I'll commit these changes and we'll go next. So
hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
If say I have a project set up where I don't necessarily want it all of my material in the app module, maybe I have a separate material module. Is there a can I go into the settings and change it so that when I run that in my project that it will know where to put it?
Yeah, it depends. I don't think that they provide. Yeah, they haven't any configuration for modules where you want to set up it. Yeah,
so
but
it's
for schematics they do. They have option module. You need to explicitly write in which module you want to set up it.
Right. So that's the kind of custom control that we have when we use the schematics, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Right.
They decide not to add this stuff. So yeah, we need to add.
No, I'm saying so we can't necessarily do that, but like when we do our own custom schematics inside our project, that's when we can like decide where we want to put stuff, but not necessarily when we're importing something from. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, next I want to add these dependencies. Like we need store, effects, entity, and store DevTools. It's almost everything from NgRx platform. We got it, and we add in NgRx Schematics as development dependency. And in the future, when they will work, there is also ng-add for NgRx store, for effects, and will be for DevTools. Store and effects already there, but they're a little bit buggy, mostly with folder structure. They parsing not correctly. It happened because of changes of CLI itself. So for now, we need to use old version.
I think it's exciting to use the brand new stuff that's coming out. That was sometimes we have to wait and we have to be patient. We're not that patient, but it's, you know, it's open source. But also, I think you guys have an open collective because I'm one of your. Are you? So the open collective is basically will allow people to.
NgRx team, yeah, they have this open collective.
Yeah, that helps. Hopefully, things get out a little bit sooner.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, next I want to add configuration option to CLI to make NgRx Schematics default one. Because here's actually the schematics in platform. And they are extending default generators, for example, components and so on. So they have this argument in collection JSON extends, and they extend in schematics Angular. So when you're generating components with NgRx Schematics, they can add imports for store and so on.
So the NgRx Schematics should replace the Angular schematics?
Not really. Not
or not. It's
like helpful tool, because next, if you don't set up schematic as default collection, you need to on each command you need to write NgRx Schematics as collection. There are two ways. So for example, we will generate store, so instead generate just store, we need to type it at NgRx Schematics double colon, and store.
So when you're changing, because the default collection would be Angular, and then you're just changing. I'm with you.
Yeah. So not to type every time the schematics, or there is another way, just like argument.
And since you're extending it, then you can still do ngGenerate component, because it's going to pull that right through. Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, we will change this config. Actually, with these changes to Angular JSON, this option moved in another place. So yeah, now it's separate object CLI, and we set up default collection here. Before that, it was something like defaults, schematics, blah blah blah. So
that's okay. Software has to evolve and get better over time.
Yeah.
So we just have to come back.
Change.
You just come back every once in a while and just let us know what you've done.
Yeah. So yeah, let's generate root store for us. And it creates a root reducer and updated our app component, app module. So yeah, we'll look here. And here is little bug. It puts incorrect path to environments. I think it's also related with changes in structure. And it added store module for us and imported root reducer. Here is it. Here. So root reducer, it's empty for now, but we have this interface, reducers map, and meta reducers. And it imported in our app module and store dev-tools setup.
I love this because when I was learning NgRx, this is all the stuff that I had to figure out. And I was struggling with it in the beginning. I didn't know how to structure that and where to put everything. And now you just do NgRx, add NgRx schematics, and it just puts all that structure in there for you.
When we started, even docs wasn't there. So we used just this kind of reverse engineering the example app.
I love this. I needed this a year ago. It wasn't there yet.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll do the same for root effect. So it creates for us effect. It do nothing for now. Test file. It's also set up for effects tests. It's pretty interesting and big topic. And app module, it should import everything here, but it didn't. I changed something. Okay. It set up effects, but I haven't changed this environment path fix. So yeah, and we have this imports. It's also important because every module comes from each own package and so on. So I'll commit this. We'll have rollbacks. And next we will do feature generate. So we generate feature for our heroes. It will create reducers, actions, effects, and I think that's all. Yeah, and there is two ways how to set up feature. We can add a reducer to reducers map, or we can set up store for feature inside our feature. So It's actually, and we have these actions.
Could you open up that that command line again?
Yeah.
Got a question about the command you typed there.
Okay.
So I see the heroes/heroes in the command you typed that you pasted in.
Okay, so heroes, it's indicates a folder for heroes, and heroes, like a class, it indicates the name of store.
So that's the name of the feature store.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So here, when it generated not really correctly our actions, it writes this heroes here and add it in action name, action class name, and so on. So it's everywhere. That is why. And we have this reducer with empty state, and it set up this action for us, effect, and should update our reducer. Yeah. So in our root reducer, it's set up it as a part of state, import it for us. We have reducers map with import. So it connected it to the root store with this command. So it's all interesting. You can use it. It's the same like NgRx Schematics. So it's come out of a box. But for example, when you want to extend them, you want to create something yourself. So next I want to show how to create, for example, fetch actions. Because for fetching, we usually need 3 types of action. Fetch, like trigger, fetch success to get data into the store, and fetch error to handle errors. So we will create some fetch action generator ourselves. I'll commit now. And we will use schematics to to generate schematics. So I already have schematics dev kit schematics CLI globally, but just to show. And we will use schematics command. It comes from schematics CLI. And we specify that we want to generate another schematic collection, and we're giving it a name. I'll do it right in this folder, just to make it simple. So it created schematics boilerplate for us, and we need to go there and stop dependencies. Okay, it's installing. So yeah, here is this folder. It also generated by schematics, so we generated collection of schematics by schematics. They put comments into JSON. It highlights the errors. And IDE going crazy with schematics. It thinks that it's wrong, especially templates and so on. So yeah, we have the same collection JSON as any schematic, like material on NgRx, and here with this schematics listing. So they have some example one here. We're gonna to leave only one for us. And we will call it fetch actions as well. So we have pretty strange naming, as our collection will called fetch actions, and schematic itself will be called fetch actions. So we have here some description. So let's write that the schematic to generate NgRx fetch actions. Okay, we will rename the folders. And we will specify alias to make it shorter. So schematics accepts list of aliases. So we will put something like FA, fetch actions. And okay. So
just to be clear, what you're doing here is you're creating a new thing that you can supply whenever you say like ngg. You can say like ngg fetch actions. Is that what the goal here is?
Yeah, ngg fetch actions, and we will get the set of fetch actions. So we will use custom schematics. It's pretty simple to create. We will copy some parts from NgRx, but okay, I'll leave only one folder here, rename it to okay, and each schematic has this factory. Just put in the name of the folder because it index.ts. So factory is the function that returns schematics rules. Schematic rule is some kind of instructions. And dev-kit schematics provide us with these interfaces, with small helper functions, and we combining these functions to create rules and chain of rules. So here, for example, we create a chain of rules, and it accepts list of rules. And in general, this function, we pass in here options that come from CLI, validate them, change them, and pass to some template. So as here, we have template, and we pass in some options to this template. And template could contain some calls of function like or variables like index and so on. We'll replace
so like if
this
you wanted to put in your template like a header and a footer with your company name, or you want to say hi ngHouston on every single page, you would do that in your template. Not that you would say hello ngHouston on every single page of your app, but you know, if you wanted to, you could do that in your template.
And you can put variables. This function template, it prepares options to use inside this template. Like here, we have this index, uppercase, and this index used here in file name itself. It's possible. We just need to add double underscores from each side of variable. And inside template, it used as well.
So this is the variable, your index, but the double underscores and the characters on either side in the template, those are all the same all the time.
Yeah.
So inside those two double underscores, you can put anything you want.
These variables in file names, it will be replaced with actual value. And here as well, it will be replaced with some number.
Okay, I get it. I think I get it.
Yeah, so you just pass an object with all available names. We'll see, because I want to delete this.
Oh, yeah, because you're going to pass in the options, and the options will contain all. I'm with you.
All helpers that you need inside templates. So you just explicitly pass them here.
You're going fast, but I'm excited. I don't want to miss anything. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I will copy some templates from action and we'll modify it. Let's take this folder.
So rather than starting from scratch, you're kind of starting from what NgRx publishes for their action generator?
We'll modify the template.
Gotcha.
It will be faster. So here in this name of this folder, they have name @-rise, and it means that we pass a name variable inside the @-rise helper, like argument to the function, and it will transform the name of the folder in this case. And this folder will be generated only if function flat will return true. We'll see. So yeah, and the same, we're using @-rise name to generate action and spec file for it. And
That's super cool.
Yeah, and Visual Studio going crazy with this syntax.
So I want to jump in for a minute and just make one comment, because we do have a lot of people who watch who are beginners. And so if you're a beginner, it's possible that Vitalii has completely scrambled your brain, because this is because NgRx to me is kind of advanced, and Schematics is a little bit new. That's just been out around the last year or so. So if you're completely confused right now, there are past episodes that are other on YouTube that explain NgRx more. If you're not familiar with NgRx, this might not be making sense. And I think there's even a beginner like Schematics. When Schematics first came out, we have a couple episodes. But if you do know NgRx and you're using NgRx, then you're probably about as excited about this right now as I am.
Yeah, it's for the beginning a little strange.
If I had seen this a year ago, I would be so lost right now. But you kind of have to learn that before you learn this. But
yeah, it's looking like some PHP or other.
I know, right?
Templating. Yeah, I think it's most close to Twig.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago, I worked with Drupal a lot, so I know this stuff.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was doing. What was that? 2011? No, it was. Oh my goodness, time flies.
Yeah. So okay, we have this. I just changed the extension to give Visual Studio relaxed about syntax.
I can't work when Visual Studio does a squiggly red line under every. I can't work like that. It distracts me.
Yeah.
It bothers me. I have to fix it. I can't focus with that.
Emergency. Everything wrong.
It stresses me out.
I want to add here some import for HTTP. I'll copy paste it. I cheated a little bit. I do it before a few times. So yeah. And files. Okay. So I want to create error action. That is why I want to import here HTTP error response. And let's modify this template. So let's say we want it not to be this S and not plot, but fetch. Fetch and fetch.
So what you do is you set up the schematics, you get everything the way you want it, and then you go in and you kind of tweak your custom things for your app from there.
Yeah. I use the template and we'll use a factory function as baseline, for example, helpers. Everybody copying these helpers over the time, and we haven't any separate library for these helpers for schematics, like classified function, @-rise. Everybody copied it from schematics because it's not a part of public API. So yeah, and actually with the syntax, we just passing here a variable to function classify, and it will just bring us this string. And I will create pretty similar to. So we need fetch our entity name success action and error action. And the same to the string.
So you're writing these actions and effects once, but in every feature branch, you'll have load success, load error, and it'll all just auto-generate those.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, usually needs these three actions.
You're going to show us this, right? When you get done setting it all up, you're going to go and fire it up, and it's going to.
So yeah,
awesome.
We have this section, not load, but fetch. Without this S, it will not have any payload. And next. Fetch. It should be there also, like action. We implementing class, yeah. Okay.
See, this is the thing about NgRx. I really like NgRx for state management, but it's a bit tedious to type all the actions and type all the, there's a lot of typing things over and over, and we want our code to be dry. So it kind of gets, I don't want to do all that typing. And this seems like it's more of that, but when you do this, then you don't have to do that anymore. It's just you're just gonna use this file over and over again. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, next I add fetch success, and we need some payload. Oh. And we will leave any, because we don't know. We can actually create some argument to pass additionally interface for this data, but let's keep it for now as is. And error.
So this template, when you run it, will generate your actions file, and then obviously you're going to generate it, but then depending upon what app you're building, you're going to go in there and add more custom stuff to it, but this will just generate the main stuff that you're going to use over and over again.
Yeah.
And so if you want interfaces and all that, you can put anything you want.
Yeah, and you can create schematics that upgrade the code. It's more complicated because you need somehow to understand where to insert your code, but there is cool TS query. Cool module. No. TS query. Not this one. Okay, can't find it now.
What does it do?
Want to show TS query.
Typescript AST query library?
Yeah, it has API like jQuery to walk through the IST. Yeah, this one. So you can use like selectors for IST. You have nodes like if statement, for statement, class, and so on. So like here, you have classes, and you run in this TS query, you're looking for identifier animal. So it will get this node in a tree.
I've never heard of
it will
that before.
simplify the work with file modifications.
Yeah, so
we're gonna have to be friends.
Schematics.
Really.
Yeah, so is this
you're showing us all kinds of. I said you're showing us all kinds of new cool stuff. We're gonna have to be friends from now on.
But it was posted on Twitter.
You had a question?
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Did you have a question, Paul?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, is that something that's in the box with the schematics tooling, or is that something that you have to add in extra?
It's extra.
Okay.
With schematics, they implement in custom functions. I'll show.
That's just extra bonus knowledge.
Yeah. For NgRx, they moved them to schematics core, its internal library. So they have utils. And here, AST utils to insert something in TypeScript, like find nodes. And I think it was copy-pasted.
Okay, but you did a couple Google searches and you found the wrong thing a couple times. What was the right one that you were trying to tell us about, the TS query? Because you went to, there was a couple. Because I pull it up, if I just go to TS query, it shows Postgres.
I saw it on Twitter first time. Yeah, that is why I haven't found it through the Google before.
So we got to go find it on Twitter. Well, because I'm thinking I can tweet. Well, if you can find it maybe tomorrow and retweet it, and then I'll retweet your retweet.
Yeah, okay. I'll find it.
Yeah. So if you're watching and you're following either one of us on Twitter, we'll find it and we'll tweet it for you.
Yeah. Okay, so we have template and next schema. So it's our arguments defined with types and all this stuff. So I'm going to be a little bit faster and cheat a little bit with this typing. So I added standard properties like name to specify name of action. Pass, it will be provided and passed through from CI. And spec is Boolean to generate actions spec file. Yeah, here is it. And I need to change the extension. Oh, no, it's not highlighted. Okay. And for the schema to use it in TypeScript, we can't import just JSON schema. We need to create some interface. In TypeScript, it's standard. And we will move most of these fields here. It should be a string. Plus, it is optional. Also string and spec. Optional. We need this one to use in our factory function. And I will cheat a little bit. I take this one. Oh yeah. We have this schematic function. We export in it. It accepts our options. And options come from this interface that I just created. So we know that we will have pass and so on, other stuff. So we need to parse this pass to find the proper place for action, parse the name of the action, and then we apply everything to our templates. So if we have spec options specified, we will filter out spec template, and it will not be used. And then we pass in the helpers inside our template, dasherize, classify, all other objects. Dot it used here in template to just place the dot in file name. And we're moving it to proper place after that. So mainly, again, we just working with options, change them somehow, and passing to template. And in template, we use this dasherize, classify, name. So all we need. And utils. I partly copied it from NgRx. Yeah. But not here. So it's also builded one. Typescript. So like app config helper just to get the root of the project, and everybody copied these files and so on. Normalize pass. We need something like a library for all these helpers.
We have a lot more things.
Schematics for our schematics.
Yeah.
This is job security for all of us. There's so much more. Like every time we have new functionality, then there's like, oh yeah, we can build all kinds of cool things now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try to build it.
The moment of truth.
Yeah, we generate and it has this command to build. We just run Typescript compiler. So yeah.
And if it all goes, that was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to take at least a couple tries because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning where you're at. I didn't know you were going to do it right on the first time.
So, yeah, it just transpiled Typescript to ES5 to use in Node, and that's it.
Oh, but so you just built it. You still have to run it.
Yeah. I just need to link it locally, and actually this takes some time. I don't know why. I think previously npm link worked much faster. Okay, it's linked. So now we can link it in our project. npm link fetch actions. Oh, it's working. Let's try ng generate our collection name first. Double colon and alias of fetch action. And next we want
that fetch actions colon fa. That's what we're seeing there with the fetch actions folder inside the fetch action folder with that alias in use, right?
Yeah, first fetch actions is collection name, second is schematic name.
Gotcha. From
this collection. Then we pass in these arguments like heroes and heroes. Again, the heroes stands for pass, and heroes from like class name stands for actions, to pass name actions and so on. Okay, let's try. And of course it failed. Is flat is not defined. Okay, I think I know. I removed flat from here. Let's do it without this option. I removed this option to make it simpler, but forget that we use it inside folder. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, our action already exists. I generated before and forget to remove. Let's do it. And so, yeah, we have it, but something highlighted. Fetch heroes, action types.
I think it said cannot find load heroes. But sometimes when VS Code just like does a little squiggly halfway through, it's just like, yeah, close it, open it, and see if it goes away. Because I don't believe the squiggly when it only goes halfway through the word.
Yeah, I agree. It's looking like it's just being cranky.
It's cranky because it's 2 a.m.
I know what's wrong. I forget to change alias type export. So yeah.
I was gonna say, if you did all of that perfectly the first time, I was gonna be pretty impressed. I mean, I'm still pretty impressed, but that's just crazy.
Let's do it again. It's pretty fast change. So yeah, alias. Oh.
Yeah, if you could live code all of that at 2 a.m. without making one single mistake, it would be superhuman.
But I cheated.
Yeah,
I have some prepared parts.
Well, that's kind of the whole point of schematics is cheating. So now we can all cheat too.
Yeah.
But it's not cheating.
So again,
it's working efficiently.
Let's remove this file again. This is why.
Okay, tell us one more time what you did wrong with the load, because you're going really fast and you're making it look very easy, but then when we try to go into it without you, it's not so easy. So what was wrong?
Change the alias type export. So here.
So you had to go back to your fetch actions folder.
Load action and without success and error. So we will see. Yeah, here. I forget to export these alias types.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty okay. We can work with it. For example, change this payload from any to our hero or something. I wanted to focus just on schematics, but actually here's a code for working whole solution, like components, store implementation, and so on.
That's why I saw you at ngConf, but you at ngConf you only have 20 minutes, and then when you come here, you can like go through all of that. So it looks easy, but then when I try to go and do all that without you, then I can always go back to YouTube and watch it again. So it's perfect. Yeah,
but you know, you trying it a few times and it's becomes easier, much easier. It's not some magic.
So when you set it all up the way you want it, and this is the thing, right? For me personally, I can't really learn just by watching you do it. I have to do it, but then when I do it, I set it all up the way I want it. And can you do a dry run in here? Like it'll tell you what it's going to do. So with schematics, you do a dry run, and it'll kind of show you because the thing is, if you're generating all this code and it doesn't work exactly the way you want it to, you just go back and fix it and you can do it again because it's just super quick once you get it exactly the way you want it. So if it's not perfect, you just go back into the schematics and you fix it, and then you just generate it again, which you're going to do because you just fixed it. Yeah. I'll be quiet and let you do that. I get excited.
Okay, I'll stop share. Where is it? Yeah. I still sharing or not?
No, you're not. So you went because you did that really quickly. So that last time you fixed it and then you went through and did it again and it was all good.
Yeah.
That's super cool. We have people watching online. Let me check one more time. So if you guys are watching online and you have questions, I think we just had a few people pop in. So if you just popped in, you're going to want to go back and watch from the beginning. But if you had questions, then feel free to put them in the chat. And even if you've never seen this before, it's okay to have beginner questions because we love beginners. So Paul, did you have any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a couple quick questions. So you showed in the beginning like how to use some of the NgRx schematics. You mentioned that there's a couple bugs in them. What's the status of the schematics library today? Is it you know is it a point release?
So generators are working pretty fine. Not ready NgRx schematics, so they have some bugs, but they are not in release yet.
But they're not, so we can still go ahead and use it. It might not become, because I saw like that the environments the path wasn't exactly right, but it's there enough that you can use it, and it just might not be some things that are perfect, and then maybe some more features. Didn't you go back? What was it? Hold on, I have it up here. The NgRx add future. So you're working on NgRx add store effects and store dev tools. That's not ready yet, just because you have to sleep sometimes.
Yeah, and guys also, I help them to.
Are you guys looking for more people to contribute to that and to that project? Are you looking for more contributors?
I think they look.
Or is this are you working on this NgRx schematics by yourself, or there's a couple of you working on it together?
Mostly, I just proposed the feature and they then ask to assign it to me. And
well, I love it, and I know who you are. I've known who you are for a long time, but I haven't really because there's always so many people at conferences, and it's so crazy, right? I had you on presenter, so I just took you off so we could all. But yeah, I've known who you are for a long time, but I haven't really talked to you a whole lot because there's so many people. But I love this. I think this is cool. So I will never forget now who you are because I'll know this is really cool. I love it. I wish I had known it a year ago, but it's also good because I had to go and type all that stuff manually a couple times that I can learn it and I'm familiar with it. And so now I can just make it quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a spin in one of my classes to kind of see how well it takes with students who are learning this stuff for the first time, help them get going without needing to type every single character the right way.
I would have learned NgRx faster if this had been available then. I would because the stuff that you were showing us, once you ran it and you did the NgRx stuff, and then you went through the files and showed us what it created. That was the stuff that I kind of struggled with in the beginning, was how to, for root, for child, like how is it going to go? And I was always missing something. So just to have that structure there, and then you go through and you fill in, it's so cool. I love it. This is very cool. Thank you for making that. And thank you for coming on here and teaching us all that stuff. That was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I know it's like the middle of the night there, but you're a trooper. This has been a really cool episode.
Okay, thanks.
So when you go and you build more stuff and more features, then come back sometimes and show us more cool stuff, because this was a lot of fun and I like having you on the show.
Okay.
Awesome.
Also, you can grab somebody like Brandon or from NgRx team. They have a lot. I just tried to contribute to schematics, but they're doing whole platform and so on.
Do you know how hard it is to get Brandon to talk in front of the camera? Like Mike will talk in front of the camera, no problem. But Brandon is the nicest guy, and he's so smart, but he does not like to talk in front of the camera. But we're working on it, because actually he promised me he would come back on ngHouston, so I'm going to go bug him again. So if you talk to Brandon, tell him that he needs to come back on ngHouston. But he doesn't like to be on camera. He's adorable. Okay, thank you so much. And one more thing I wanted to say before we close is your Twitter is, tell us, it's Vitalii, and then it has a 1989. No, it's not Vitalii. So it's Bobrov, Bobrov 1989 is your Twitter handle. So
also, I don't know. I leave there links to slides and this code.
Yeah, if you'll tweet out a link, then I will. Oh, here it is. Okay, let me put that in the YouTube chat.
No, I will not tweet today.
That's okay. Oh, yeah, because it's past your bedtime. No problem. Okay, so I'm gonna put those in the YouTube chat real quick.
Yeah. And this ready one. Oh yeah.
So there's your slides, and there is the oops.
GitHub code and GitHub pages.
And I really like that demo that you did for us, the NgRx Star Wars knowledge base, because it has like all of the instructions right there in the README. So you can basically go through the steps. So if you're watching this and you want to go through the steps and follow along with him, you can just go look at that because that README was super good. Okay, thank you so much. This was awesome, and I hope you'll come back and be a guest again.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, bye.
Bye.